Thank you. This is my first lecture on. This is the first lecture on user computer interaction. We are basically trying to bring to your attention how the user of the computer interact with the computer. Okay, we just talk about. We know very much that the users normally interact with the computer via devices such as the keyboard and so on and so forth. But there are basic items or the basic details that are hidden that we actually don't know about it. So the purpose of this video or this program is basically to show you how a user of the computer interacts with the computer. Okay, as a result, you are calling this as user computer interface. Now, up until now, we know that a computer system consists of the hardware as well as the software. Okay, so these are the two parts that every computer system consists of. Okay, the hardware part and the software. Now, the software is basically a set of programs. Okay, it's a set of programs that instruct the computer about the task to be performed. That is the software. Okay, it's a set of programs. So you write these programs in order to instruct, okay, the computer about the task, the instructions that the computer to compile the instructions and then feed them into the computer, so that now we are able to basically perform these tasks. That's the software, and these are just instructions, and we cannot touch these instructions at all. Okay, because it's some form of abstract. Okay, software basically tells the computer how the tasks are to be performed, whereas now the difference comes in because the hardware carries out these tasks. So you should not confuse the two. The software tells the computer how the tasks are to be performed, whereas the hardware carries out these tasks. Okay. Now, the component of the computer, like the keyboard, processor, mouse, and so on, these constitute the hardware part. In some textbooks, these are referred to as peripheral devices. Okay. So now what we are saying is that these devices actually carries out the task as specified by the computer software. Okay. So now it's important to understand the types of software that we have. Okay. So software can be broadly classified into two categories. Okay. Two categories. We have what we call the system software as well as the application software. Okay. System software as well as the application software. So system software basically provides the basic functions that are performed by the computer. Okay. System software provides the basic functions that are performed by the computer. In short, you are saying this system software is necessary for the functioning of the computer. For a computer to be able to function, or for the computer to be able to perform its operation, we need to have system software. Okay, we need to have system software. Okay, so these are the two types or two classification of software: the system software as well as the application software. So system software provides the basic functionality that are performed by the computer. In short, what we are saying, without the system software, a computer cannot function. A computer cannot function. Okay. So, application software, on the other hand, is used by the users to perform specific tasks. Okay. The user now of the computer uses this application software to perform specific tasks. So the user may choose the appropriate application software for performing specific tasks, which provides the desired functionality. Basically, it depends with what the user wants to achieve. Okay, it depends with what the user wants to achieve. Okay, so when you want to perform a specific task, then you are required to use a specific, okay, you are required to use a specific application software. Okay, we are going to see as we progress that there are various types of application software that are used in order for us to be able to perform specific tasks. All of us, in one way or the other, we've used certain application software in our quest to basically achieve certain function. Now, we talked about, remember, don't forget about the purpose of this lecture. Okay, we are saying we are looking at the user computer interface, and our main point of contention, or the main idea we are trying to bring across here, is that how does a user of the computer interact with the computer hardware? Now, this will bring us to another thing, which we are calling the software hierarchy. Okay, the software hierarchy. So this software hierarchy consists of the users. We have the users at the first level of the hierarchy. We have the user, okay, which in this case could be yourself or me. Okay, someone who interacts with the computer, or somebody who uses the computer. Then we have from the user, you and me. How do we interact with this the system software we talked about? So we interact with the system software through the application programs. Remember, we did indicate the fact that application programs help you, or help the user, to perform a specific task or operation. Okay, that's what the application program does. So you're able to perform specific task or specific operation. So now, in this case, this application software cannot just sit in vacuum. Okay, this application software has to sit somewhere. Okay, this application software needs system software. In short, again, we are saying application software sits on system software. Okay, it sits on system software. Now, this system software also must sit somewhere in order for there to be this aspect of coordination. Remember, we're talking about the software hierarchy, the hierarchy of the software. So now you find out that this system software sits on the hardware. Okay, this system software sits on the hardware. So now this completes the hierarchy. So you're saying, how does the user of the computer interact with the user interacts with the computer. On the computing aspect, we have the application software. Of course, we could give an example such as the word processor or any accounting software or accounting package that we make use of. So um, this application software sits on the system software. Now, this system software, I'll give an example of a system software, which is an operating system. Now, the operating system comes in various forms, and we have the common one that we use here, which is actually the Windows family. Probably you could say you have Windows 10. Windows operating system is a very good example of system software. So what we are saying is that this system software holds the application software. Now, this system software also sits on the hardware that we see, that we are able to see, feel, and we can touch. So that completes the software hierarchy. We have the user, which is you and me. Then application software. In this case, we are talking about the software that helps us to basically achieve specific operation. Okay. Now, this software must sit on the system software, and a good example given is the operating system. Okay. Now, this operating system sits on the hardware. So that completes the software hierarchy. Now, let's look at the system software. We're saying system software provides the basic functionality to the computer. System software provides the basic functionality to the computer. So system software is required for the working of the computer itself. Okay, so a computer cannot work. Take note of this. A computer cannot work without system software. Okay. For example, when you buy a computer, the system software would also include the device drivers. Okay. So you also need this to supplement the other programs that are already installed on your machine. So meaning system software helps to provide the basic functionality of the computer. For the computer to be able to work, you need system software. Now, what are the purposes? The purposes of the system software. What are these specific purposes? You know, it's important to note that the system software serves quite a lot of purposes. It provides it's there for a lot of purposes. One key purpose is to provide the basic functionality to the computer. We've talked about this. For a computer to be able to work, it needs a system software. If your operating system is corrupt or your machine or hardware doesn't have the operating system, then it means that the system or your computer cannot function. That's the first purpose, to provide the basic functionality to the computer. The second purpose of system software is basically to control computer hardware. You know, when you have these hardware devices, okay, when you have these hardware devices or you purchase a computer, you want to add another device such as a printer or any other thing, this device has to be installed on the machine. It needs we need a device driver. Okay, this device driver have to be installed on the machine, and this provides the coordination, the control aspect. That is basically part of the function of the system software. So system software has to control that aspect of us to be able to attach another device to the computer system. It also, the other purpose of the system software is to it acts as an interface between the user application software and the computer hardware. Okay? It acts as an interface. In short, we are saying it sits in between the user, then the application software, as well as the computer hardware. So those are the basics, or the three main purpose of the system hardware or system software. Okay, so categories of system software, again, on that basis we can say the system software is also categorized on the basis of their functionality. Okay, so system software may be broadly divided into two categories. It may be may be broadly divided into two categories. We have system software for the management and functionality of the computer. These ones relate to the functioning of different components of the computer, such as the processor, the input-output devices, and so on and so forth. So these are part of system software that are categorized under the umbrella of management. Then we have also system software, okay, required for software development or system development. Okay, so system software for the development of application software, these provide services required for the development and execution of application software. That is basically the system software for the development of application. Okay, so in short, what we are saying is that system software is basically categorized into two. We have one that is actually responsible for computer management, and another one for developing software. Another one for developing software. Okay, so if you look at the software that is the system software that is actually responsible for computer management, we can talk about examples such as the operating system itself, which is a very good example I talked about of system software. Then we have what we call device drivers. Okay, then you have system utilities. Then we also have, basically those are the three main that you can find. So we have the operating system, then device drivers, as well as the system utility. Very briefly, I'm going to talk about this as we progress. Okay, then the system software for developing software, the one that is used for developing software, we have actually four categories. Of course, there are many other out there, but the common one are these four categories. We have what we call the category based on programming languages. Okay, developing software for programming languages. Then you have what we call translator software. Then we also have the linker, as well as the loader. Okay, so I'll find time to explain all this. These are parts of software, system software for the developing software. If you want to develop a particular software, you need programming languages, you need also a translator, you need a linker, then you need a loader. This falls under the category of system software meant for developing software. Okay. Now, let's look at the system software category based on computer management. Remember, I talked about three, where we have the operating system, the device drivers, as well as the utility, okay, as well as the system utility. So we'll start by looking at the operating system. Of course, our next video is going to cover the operating system. So we'll just briefly look at it so that we see how it is used in the aspect of managing the functionality of the computer. So, operating system is an important part of a computer, very important. Why is it important? We are saying the importance of the operating system, okay, is that it intermediates between the user of the computer and the computer hardware. Okay, so it sits in between there. It sits in between the user of the computer as well as the computer hardware. That's the operating system. It now comes in to provide that interface we are talking about. Okay, so different kind of application software that we'll look at very shortly use specific hardware resources of a computer, such as the central processing unit, input-output unit devices, and memory as needed by the application software. So all these make use of the software. So operating system controls and coordinate the use of the hardware. Okay? This control and coordination actually is meant to ensure that the different application and users make efficient use of these devices. Okay, so again, it's important to note that besides the control and coordination that the operating system provides to the application software as well as the users, it also provides an interface that is convenient for the user to use and facilitate efficient operation of the computer system resources. Through the use of the operating system, when we install application software, we are able to provide the basic interface to facilitate efficient operation of the computer as well as the resources. Okay. Again, we could also say that operating system provides an environment in which users and application software can do their work. We said we have this application software. Now, this application software this application software basically sits on the system software. Okay, so this is made possible by the operating system, which is a very good example of application software. Okay, so also it's important to note that the operating system manages different resources of the computer, like the central processing unit time, memory space, file storage, input output devices, and so on and so forth. Okay, so these are managed by the CPU, by the operating system. So these are computer resources, and for them to be able to operate efficiently and effectively, the operating system, which is an example of system software, has a role to play. Okay, this one has a role to play. It controls the execution of different programs to prevent occurrence of errors. All these programs that takes place or happens in the system, they are all controlled, and they are controlled and coordinated by the operating system. Okay, and when errors are to occur, okay, when errors are to occur and so forth, this operating system prevents that, or it does this by either giving an alert message to the user or any other thing. Okay, so what we are saying is that it does quite a lot of things, because beside the control, you also find that the same operating system also provides the convenient interface to the user in the form of commands and graphical interface, which facilitate the use of the computer. Nowadays, we use the computer through what we call GUI, or GUI, graphical user interface, not command. Of course, we can still use commands. Okay, we can still use commands in our in our interaction with the computer. Okay, but the common basically through the graphical user interface, and this is made possible by the system software. In this case, we are talking about the operating system. Now, that's about the operating system, which is an example of software for the management of the computer. We also have what you call the device driver. The device driver. A device driver, this acts as a translator between the hardware and the software that uses the device. Okay, it acts as a translator between the hardware and the software that uses the device. It intermediates between the device and the software in order to use the device. So when you plug in a device to the computer, okay, there must be some form of transformation or translation so that the computer can be able to tell, to say, okay, now there's this device or this colleague that has been added to my to me, and this colleague is able to speak this kind of a language. Okay, so that is a very good example where the translation aspect comes into being. That is where the device driver comes. Of course, nowadays, some device drivers come pre-installed in the computer system. They come pre-installed, but, okay, but we are saying that these device drivers, okay, these device drivers are there to help us to be able to use any other device as they connect to the computer system. Okay. Peripheral devices that are commonly connected to the computer. Okay. In short, for proper working of a device, the corresponding device driver must be installed on the computer. So if you are using you want to use a printer, you need to install an appropriate print driver. You need to install the appropriate print driver. So Beside the print driver, we also have what you call the system utility. System utilities. These are part of the system software mandated to manage the operation of the computer. System utility software is required for the maintenance of the computer. We know as human beings, we require most of the time, after some time, to go for medical checkup. In short, when we go for medical checkups and so forth, it is part of the routine maintenance. Okay, it's part of the routine maintenance. So this is the same case with the system utility. This is the same case with the system utility. These system utilities are used for supporting and enhancing the programs and the data in a computer. Okay? They help us to enhance, to support, and enhance the programs and the data in the computer. So we are going to see quite some common examples of utilities, okay, that are there. Of course, as much as we have this utility software, there are others that come embedded with the operating systems, or others may be added later on. Okay, others may be added later on, or later on after purchasing of the computer. I'll briefly give some few examples of system utility software that we have. The common antivirus that we use. Okay, the antivirus is basically a utility software. This is used to scan the computer for viruses. We know if the computer is infected, that may end up compromising the programs and other files that are stored on the computer. As a result, we need to continuously scan the computer so that we clean it of the viruses. So antivirus is a very good example of utility software. We also have data compression utility to compress files. Sometimes you find that your computer is running out of memory, then you would need to use what you call the data compression utility to compress the files in order to create space. Also, cryptographic utility to encrypt and decrypt the files. So this, if you want to transmit certain data with certain security features, you need to encrypt this data. You need to encrypt this data so that you are able to actually provide a secure kind of communication over the internet. Then there's an aspect of disk compression utility used to compress content of a disk for increasing the capacity of the disk. So again, you can compress the disk if you are running out of memory. This can help with, okay, this can help you with the aspect of creating space on the disk. Also, partitioning, this can help again to partition or divide a single drive into multiple logical drives, and you can store information in each of these, such that if one partition is at fault, that will not be able to affect other partitions. Okay, so that's what we are talking about. Now, if you want to talk about those are the ones to do with the management of the computer. Okay. There are also other utilities that are concerned. Okay. These are concerned with application software development. And in this case, we are talking about these examples we gave. One good example is the programming language. Okay? Programming language. So we are saying a programming language consists of a set of vocabulary and grammatical rules to express the computation and task that the computer has to perform. Okay? We are talking about set of vocabulary and grammatic rules that the computer has to perform. So programming languages are used to write programs which controls the behavior of the computer, codify the algorithm precisely, or enable the human computer interface. In short, you are just writing the instruction through programming language. You use this programming language to write the instructions that will tell the computer what to do. So programming language falls into three categories. Okay, it falls into three categories. We have what we call the machine language. Then we have the assembly language as well as the high-level language. Of course, we'll cover this in our in our next video. Okay, programming language falls into these three categories: machine language, assembly language, as well as high level language. So we need to understand, how do we understand the categories of this programming language? We understand them through the generation of programming language. Okay, we have, up until now, you can say we have 5 generations. The first generation of programming languages, under there we have machine language. This machine language is the language that the computer can understand, and this is complex for other people to understand, except if you are an expert in this field. So we are talking about the use of zeros and ones, or binary coding. Okay, then you have the secondary generation. Under the second generation, under the second generation, no, put it there. Under the second generation, we have the assembly language. Okay, we have the assembly language on a mnemonic, which uses symbols to represent certain concept. Then you have third generation language, where we have the C languages such as the C, COBOL, Fortran, Pascal, C++, Java, ActiveX, and so on and so forth. Then fourth generation language, under the fourth generation language, we have the .NET, where we have VB.NET, C#, .NET, and so on and so forth. We also have scripting language, such as the JavaScript, Microsoft front page, etc. This falls under the fourth generation language. Then fifth generation language, we have these that are used in AI, such as Lisp or Prolog. Okay, these are some of the languages that falls under the fifth generation language. How about the translator software? Translator software is used to convert a program written in high-level language and assembly language to a form that the computer can understand. Okay, that's what the translator software is used for, to basically convert a program that is written in high-level language, such as high-level language and assembly language, into a form that the computer can understand. And what is the form that the computer can understand? This is the machine language. Okay, so the translator software convert a program written in assembly language and high-level language to a machine level language program. Okay, and the translated program is called the object code. That is the name that is used for a translated program. Now, there are three different kinds of translator software that you use. Of course, there are quite a lot. We have the assembler, the compiler, the interpreter, the linker, and the loader. These are some of the three different kind of translator software that you are going to find. So that marks the end of the system software. Now, if you look at the application software, there we need to understand one important fact, that the software that a user uses for compiling or accomplishing a specific task is basically called the application software. So application software may be probably a single program or a set of programs. These may be bundled together, okay? Or you may just decide to create a single program, okay? So a set of programs that are written they're written for a specific purpose and provide the required functionality is basically called software package. This is a set of programs that are written or that is written for a specific purpose and provide a required functionality. Now, here in the software package, you'll find that you have quite a number of applications, and these applications are bundled together. Okay, they are bundled into a package. Okay, if you can look at, for instance, the Office suite. In the Office suite, you'll be able to find application software such as Word, Excel, and many other. Okay, each of these is used for a specific purpose. So application software is written for different kind of applications, such as graphics, word processor, media player, database applications, telecommunication, accounting, and many other purposes. Once we've talked about this, now a question one would want to ask is, how do you acquire software? How do you acquire software? Now, we can say that different kind of software are made available for use to users in different ways. Okay, they're made available in different ways. So the user may have to purchase the software, okay, from the shop, or you may download for free from the internet. Okay, or you can get it bundled along with the hardware. This software comes pre-installed in the hardware. These are the many ways that you can acquire the software. Okay, so now in short, we are saying we have different ways, such as the retail software, where you can get this from the shop. You go and buy and install on your machine, and then you are able to make use of this software. Okay, also we have what you call the office equipment software. Of course, this comes pre-installed by the manufacturers of the software in the device of the hardware. Then we also have what we call the demo software. This demo software is basically used just for demonstration purposes. You use this for demonstration. After that aspect of demonstration, then for you to use it further, you are required to pay. Then you have also what we call shareware. Of course, this also you have to share it. You are allowed to share and use it for a specific period. And thereafter, arrangement has to be made on how best you can continue to use that software. Then we also have freeware. This you can get it again for free. Use it maybe for a certain period, such as 30 days or 60 days. Thereafter, you'll be required to pay in order for you to continue to use the software. Public domain software is also another software, okay, that you can make use of. Okay. Then beside that, we also have open source. This is one which is readily available. You can make use of, modify, and share. Okay. So in short, we are saying these are the various ways that you can acquire software, such as the retail software from the retail, or from original equipment machines, or demo software, shareware, freeware, public domain, or open source. Nowadays, with the advent of cloud computing, again, it's important to know that many application software are also available on the cloud for use through the internet. Good examples of these applications that are there is what we call Google Docs. Okay? In short, we are saying this is basically user interface. How does, in this course, we are trying to explain how the user interacts with the computer. Join us for our next video, and in our next video or lecture, we are going to look at the operating system, which is part of the which is a very good example of system software. We are going to look at it in much more detail so that you are able to appreciate what the functions of the operating systems are, what you can do or without the operating system. Thank you very much for your time. Please join us for the next video and subscribe to this channel for more educative and interactive video. Thank you so much.